Christmas. The girl I couldn't trust. The girl was bad.
If you think you can dance like Michael Jackson, think again. You might pull off a moonwalk in your kitchen, maybe hit a spin if the floor is slick enough. But what Michael Jackson did on stage, that wasn't dancing. It was something else, something deeper, more dangerous, more human, and somehow more inhuman. Because while the world saw smooth slides and sharp hits, those closest to him, his dancers, his choreographers, even his doctors, knew the truth. No one could keep up, not even the best in the business, and some paid a heavy price trying. So what made these routines so impossible to copy? Was it his timing, his mechanics, his physicality? Or was it something only Michael had, something that can't be taught, trained, or replicated? Stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly why no one, not even his siblings, not even his dancers, ever truly danced like Michael Jackson. Before we dive in, if you love dramatic deep dives into music legends and forgotten stories behind iconic moments, hit subscribe to join us here at Retro Waves, Los Angeles, 2009. The lights were dim, the mirrors fogged with sweat, and behind closed doors, something historic was happening. Michael Jackson, the most elusive and legendary performer in the world, was preparing for the biggest comeback the music world had ever seen. It was called This Is It. 50 shows, 20,000 seats per night, sold out in hours. And in that rehearsal studio, a hand-picked team of elite dancers flown in from across the globe, each with years of training, touring, and televised performance experience. They thought they were ready, until they hit the routine called Jam. On paper, it didn't seem so bad. Up-tempo, high energy, a full-body piece. But in practice, it was carnage. It was the hardest thing I've ever danced, one dancer later admitted in a behind-the-scenes interview from the This Is It documentary. And Michael, he just kept going. At 50 years old, Michael was still moving like it was 1987. Each isolation, perfect. Each glide, effortless. Each hit, deadly accurate. But for the others in the room, you could see the exhaustion set in. Shoulders drooped, breaths turned to gasps. Some dancers literally bent over, hands on their knees, as the music kept blasting. According to rehearsal director Kenny Ortega, there were moments they had to pause. Not for Michael, but for the others. And yet, Jackson never broke character. Even when the L.A. County Coroner's report would later reveal that his body was severely underweight and suffering from chronic insomnia, his movement didn't betray him. He still danced like a man on fire. So what made Jam so devastating to copy? It wasn't just the pace. It was the fact that the choreography had no breath built in. It was a marathon sprint, 5 minutes of unrelenting hits, spins, syncopation, and speed, with zero margin for error. And when you danced it with Michael, it wasn't enough to get the moves right. You had to match him, step for step, energy for energy. And that's where even world-class dancers crumbled. January 1993. The American Music Awards were packed with stars. Whitney, Garth Brooks, even MC Hammer was still drawing headlines. But when Michael stepped on stage, all that vanished. Because what the world was about to see wasn't just a performance, it was war. Dangerous was the name of the song, but it wasn't just a title. This routine was so technically insane that most dancers today still study it in slow motion just to understand what he was doing. Here's what made it brutal. The tempo shifted constantly. Hard-hitting beats one moment, silky transitions the next. The spins weren't just fast, they were mathematically timed to land on half beats. The chest pops, foot slides, robot freezes, hip rolls, they weren't decorative. They were all precision-coded into the beat. Now consider this. Michael had to do it live. No retakes, no edits, no safety net. And the choreography wasn't just fast, it was long. Most dancers today admit, if they perform something that fast-paced, it lasts maybe 2 minutes max. Dangerous ran 5, and Michael never slowed. According to Dr. Christopher Rogers, who testified, he glided, he snapped, he spun, but there was one routine, one performance that shook even Michael Jackson's confidence. And you wouldn't expect it, because on the surface, Remember the Time doesn't seem that intimidating. It's smooth, mid-tempo, full of flowing movement and grace. But that's exactly what makes it so cruel. Deceptive difficulty. In footage recovered from rehearsals, some of which was later aired posthumously, Michael is seen stopping mid-dance, something he rarely did. He pauses, looks off to the side. His expression? Uncertainty. For someone like MJ, who was known for drilling moves until they fused into muscle memory, this was shocking. And it wasn't just nerves. According to several crew members from the Dangerous Tour and Remember the Time short film production, Michael had privately admitted that the choreography just didn't feel natural to him. That's right. Michael Jackson, creator of the Moonwalk, felt unsure about a routine, and then came the 1993 live performance in Seoul. Fans were buzzing, expecting a full rendition of Remember the Time, but instead, Michael sat. He remained on a gilded Egyptian throne, gesturing while his dancers moved around him. Rumors spread fast. Some said he was injured. Others believed he was exhausted. But whispers behind the curtain told another story. He might have chosen the throne to avoid doing choreography he hadn't mastered to perfection. To this day, no official statement confirms it, but the coincidence is hard to ignore. And here's why the routine is brutal. The movements require extreme control, like water flowing in perfect rhythm. Every step transitions from soft to sharp, from fluid to angular, without breaking the illusion of smoothness. If you miss even one beat, the flow collapses. Dance experts refer to it as liquid to crystal choreography, moves that shift states from soft to solid in milliseconds. Now imagine executing that for a live audience of 80,000 people, with cameras filming from every angle. And the worst part? Michael wasn't just dancing, he was telling a story. Remember the Time wasn't a set of moves. It was an ancient romance, a royal seduction, an emotional retelling told entirely with body language. Each flick of his wrist meant something. Each turn of the head had intention. So, while the steps were hard, replicating the soul of the routine? Impossible. Dancers can memorize the sequence. They can dress like pharaohs and mimic the angles. But they'll never replicate what Michael felt, because when he danced it, he remembered, and no one else can. Sibling rivalry has never looked this good. When Michael and Janet Jackson teamed up for the 1995 hit Scream, it wasn't just a duet. It was a collision of two perfectionists, both at the top of their game. And what they created was a nightmare for anyone else who dared try. The video cost a reported $7 million, making it the most expensive music video ever made at the time, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. But money wasn't the problem. Synchronization was. Because Scream required something that even most elite dancers avoid, absolute mechanical unity. Every step, every lean, every isolated hit had to match. Exactly. Now imagine doing that with Michael Jackson. Janet, by the way, is no beginner. She's a dance icon in her own right, famous for routines like Rhythm Nation and If. And yet, even she had to push herself to match Michael's intensity. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Janet later admitted that she had to rehearse harder than ever to get it right. Because unlike typical duets where dancers can complement each other's styles, Scream demanded mirroring. Every shoulder pop, foot placement, and head whip needed to hit on the same millisecond. And here's where most people fail. Michael's footwork is lightning quick, but never sloppy. Janet's body control is world-class, but MJ takes transitions to a supernatural level. And the routine required moving from robotic isolation into fluid groove in just 2 beats. Think that's doable? Try switching from tight muscle pops into a glide without making it look like 2 different dance styles stitched together. And then do it while pretending you're weightless in space, 'cause the video's setting? A zero-gravity spaceship. And their attitude? Rebellion, rage, pure emotion. It wasn't just about technique, it was about chemistry. And that's the final nail in the coffin for imitators. You can learn the moves, but you can't learn the bond. They were siblings. They shared a rhythm no one else could touch. An instinct built from childhood stages and living room battles. Even when the steps were sharp, they moved like twins. And no one, not even professional duos on talent shows, has come close to recreating that impossible electric balance between chaos and control. If you've never seen Too Bad from Ghosts, you're not alone. Buried beneath the legal drama of the late 90s, Ghosts was Michael Jackson's eerie, ambitious, horror musical short film that barely got the attention it deserved at the time. But if you dig it up, you'll find one of the most brutal and underrated performances of his entire career. It wasn't made for TV, it wasn't made for award shows, it was made for him, and it was personal. Because by 1996, Michael wasn't just battling the media, he was fighting back. And that's exactly what Too Bad was, a dance of confrontation. From the first second, Michael doesn't ease into it, he attacks. His shoulders slam, his feet stomp, his entire body lashes out like a man possessed. The choreography blends classic locking and popping, styles that demand strict muscle control, with violent release. This isn't smooth Michael, this is furious Michael. And here's what makes Too Bad nearly impossible to copy. You have to hit every move like you're in a street fight, but then instantly switch into a glide so smooth it looks like you're on ice. And you have to do it with swagger, not anger, not tension. It has to feel cool even when the movement is savage. The transitions are insane. In 1 second, he's stomping with rage. In the next, he melts into a spin with ghost-like precision. It's not just physical, it's theatrical. Michael played multiple characters in Ghosts, including the monster, the mayor, and the misunderstood. That meant he wasn't just dancing choreography, he was embodying personas. And when Too Bad begins, it's not just a routine, it's a narrative told through violence, grace, and defiance. Even dancers who've trained in both hip-hop and jazz-funk styles struggle to master this level of contrast, because it's not just about execution, it's about range. According to Lavelle Smith Jr., one of Michael's longtime choreographers, the Ghosts' routines were the most physically punishing they ever created, and it shows. Dancers behind the scenes reportedly needed sports therapy to recover from filming days. Some had to take breaks between takes due to muscle fatigue from the sheer force of repetition. Meanwhile, Michael? He kept going, even when injured, even when criticized, even when the world seemed to turn against him. And Too Bad was his message to them all. You don't have to like him, but you'll never dance like him. So what do these 5 routines have in common? Was it the speed, the physicality, the aggression, the stamina? Sure, all of those were part of it. But the real answer? Michael Jackson didn't just dance, he became the beat. He became the emotion. He became the entire story in motion. Other dancers performed choreography. Michael channeled it. Every pop had intention. Every glide meant something. Every spin ended exactly when the music demanded it. You can copy the steps. You can wear the fedora. You can even moonwalk across the smoothest stage money can buy. But you won't have his timing, or his silhouettes, or the way he'd lean his body a few inches past gravity just to make a crowd hold its breath. And you certainly won't have the pain, the loneliness, and the obsession that carved each routine into something unforgettable. Because at the heart of it all, Michael Jackson wasn't chasing applause. He was chasing something far more impossible, perfection. And that's why no one has ever caught up. Not the tribute dancers, not the impersonators, not even his own protégés. They might hit the moves, but they'll never touch the magic. Because Michael's greatest gift wasn't that he danced better than anyone else. It's that he made you believe for a few minutes that he was dancing for something bigger than all of us. If this left you wondering how one man could move the way he did, you're not alone. That's what we explore here on Retro Waves, the untold truths behind the legends, the forgotten moments, the magic they left behind. So if you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with us, because the stories aren't over. And sometimes, what's behind the music is even more powerful than the beat itself.